Welcome to Embracing Love. So let's start this week with a meditation. We can find our seats, close our eyes, start to settle into our bodies. Feel our feet on the ground, feel our seats in our chair, feel our back against the chair. Start with a deep cleansing inhale. So inhaling, feeling the lungs expand. Then exhale, relaxing, letting go of the day that led us here. Do that one more time, inhaling, feeling the belly expand, feeling the chest expand. And on the exhale, letting go of stress, letting go of worry, settling into this moment. Let's start by bringing our awareness to our toes, to our feet. Start by wiggling our toes, feeling each individual toe moving, noticing each single toe. And let's bring our awareness up to our feet, to balls of the feet, arches of the feet, the heels, back of the heel, the Achilles tendon, tops of the feet. Noticing them all and allowing the feet to relax. Now feeling the ankles, outside, the inside, front, the back, allowing the ankles to relax. And noticing the lower legs, the calves, the calf muscles, the shin bone, side of the legs. Maybe you'd like to squeeze those lower leg muscles and then allow them to relax. Next, let's move our awareness up to the knees, noticing the kneecaps, sides of the knee, the crease at the back of the knee, allowing the knees to fully relax. Now noticing the upper legs, the thighs, big thigh muscles, the hamstring muscles on the bottom, the inner thigh, the outer thigh. Maybe you'd like to contract those big upper leg muscles and then allow them to fully relax. And then we can bring our awareness to the hips, feeling the bottoms of our hips, the sides, the crease in the front, the back. Allowing the hips to relax and settle into the seat. And then let's bring our attention to the abdomen, front of the belly, the back, the lower back, sides, the lumbar spine. Maybe you'd like to squeeze those abdominal muscles and allow them to release and relax. Maybe you'd like to imagine the internal organs relaxing as well. Intestines, the liver, the kidneys, the spleen, allowing everything to relax. And then let's move our awareness up to the torso, the ribs, sides of the ribs, the back of the ribs, the middle of the back. Allowing everything to relax. Feeling the lungs relax, the heart relax, the stomach relax on the inside. Next, moving our awareness up to the shoulders, collarbones, shoulder blades in the back, space in between the shoulder blades. You can roll our shoulders up to our ears and down and back, allowing them to be soft and relaxed. Allowing our awareness to move now to the arms, the upper arms, the biceps, the triceps, inner arms, the outer arms. If you'd like, you can squeeze those upper arm muscles and then allow them to completely relax. Noticing the elbows now, the bony point at the back, creases on the inside, outside, allowing the elbows to relax. And moving down into the forearms. If you'd like, you can contract those forearm muscles and then allow them to relax. Noticing the inner arm, the outer arm, the bones in between, allowing everything to fully relax. As our awareness spreads now to the wrists, the inside, the outside, back, the front, allowing the wrists to relax. Now noticing the hands, the back of the hands, the palm of the hands, the thumb, the knuckles, and the fingers. If you'd like, you can wiggle the fingers, noticing each individual finger from the pinky to the thumb. And allow the hands to completely relax and be still. Let's bring our attention up to the throat, front of the throat, the sides of the neck, back of the neck. Allowing all those neck muscles to relax and unwind, release tension. Noticing the jaw, maybe like to wiggle the jaw back and forth, but release. And noticing the teeth, the tongue, the lips, cheeks, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, allowing everything to relax. If you'd like, you can scrunch up your face real tight and allow the face to fully relax. Allow the forehead to relax. Allow the sides of the head to relax, the ears, the back of the head. And finally, coming up around the curve of the skull to the very tip of the head, the crown. Let's take another of those deep, full inhales. And the lungs expand. And the exhale, allowing relaxation to wash down the entire body. From the head all the way down through the legs, out through the feet. Washing away all stress, all tension into the ground. Let's do that again, inhaling fully. And as you exhale, feel relaxation cascading down your body, washing away all tension, all negativity. Anything that doesn't serve you, let it wash down out of your body into the ground. Now let's sit here for a few moments in this full body awareness. If you'd like, you can continue to breathe in on the inhales and then on the exhales, release and relax, letting everything wash down out of your body. allowing any sounds to arise and wash away, allowing any thoughts, any sensations to just arise and wash away with the breath. When you're feeling ready, you can start to deepen your inhales, starting to bring your attention back into this shared space. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and rejoin us. So how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Great, more relaxed, more settled,
Yes.
more present in the body. Great. Thanksgiving is 1 week away. We're already in the holidays. And so I thought this could be a good time to talk about how to love our way through the holidays. Because for some of us, the holidays can be very stressful. I looked at one survey that said 90% of the people responding said that the holidays were the most stressful time of the year for them. So a lot of this can be a stressful time. There's the financial pressure of buying presents for everyone. And there's all the family gatherings, maybe work gatherings. Those can sometimes be stressful. And if we're alone, the lack of family can amplify those feelings of aloneness. So there's lots of things that can go on to cause us stress on the holidays. So I thought we could use this time this week to prepare for that, to talk about some tips and strategies for bringing more love into the holidays. So let's start by talking about family gatherings. So sometimes these can be fun on the holidays. Sometimes, depending on your family, they can be stressful, not so fun. And so one thing to keep in mind, so let's talk about how to bring more love to family gatherings, more love for ourselves and more love for our family. Just try to bring more love into the whole gatherings as a whole. So one thing we can do is before we go to family gatherings, that's a great time right before to meditate, center ourselves, maybe do some of the heart-centered meditation practices that we've practiced, or the I love you practice, so that we can fill ourselves up on love before we head into this gathering. That just makes sure that makes sure that we're feeling full of love and that we have more love to share with the people there. And then while we're at the gatherings, if these family gatherings are stressful for us, it's a good time to practice mindfulness and be aware of our bodies, be aware of how we're reacting to the environment. Particularly, we can pay attention to our breath, noticing when we get stressed out, our breath tends to come more shallowly, more rapidly, and noticing if we're tensing up anywhere in our body, holding tension, maybe in our shoulders or in our neck, in our stomach. We all have our different trigger area or different flash points, different pressure points. So as we're in these environments, a way to stay grounded, stay present, just to be aware of our bodies, be aware of our breath. Notice if we're holding pain, if we're contracting, if we're causing pain in our bodies. And then if we find ourselves in a situation where we're having a challenging interaction with someone else, so say some family members or friends or coworkers or anything, if we find ourselves on the receiving end of a challenging interaction, that's when things can get difficult, right? And so one thing to be aware of, well, first, before we start, I want to say that we never have any obligation to subject ourselves to abuse, whether that's physical or verbal or mental or emotional abuse. So anytime we're in a situation where we're being abused, there are absolutely no obligations that require us to sit through that. So whatever we may feel like we have obligations to stay through something, but whenever we're being abused, whenever we're being hurt, we never have to stay through that. So I just want to put that out there. Anytime we're being abused, we have every right to take care of ourselves and exit from the situation. But if it's not that severe, if we're just having a more challenging or triggering interaction, and even if someone is acting in ways that doesn't make us feel good, one thing that can help is to continue to have compassion for the other person, so that we don't get triggered ourselves and respond with similar behavior. So if someone's starting to say things or act in ways that makes us feel uncomfortable, whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously, whether they're being passive aggressive or starting to lash out or starting to be triggered, it can help to remember that any behaviors that other people are acting out, any negative behaviors that they're acting out, those are reflections of behaviors that they received or suffered through from other people that are unresolved within them. So this can help us have compassion for other people, remembering that anytime someone's lashing out at us, anytime someone's being passive aggressive or saying unkind things, that's a reflection of things other people said to them at some point. That's a reflection of the pain that they've endured in their life and haven't been able to process and integrate themselves. So that's one thing that can help us just keep compassion in mind, hold compassion in our hearts for other people who aren't treating us in kind ways. And so sometimes we're going to get triggered and we're going to lash out again, and or get triggered and respond in negative ways, and sometimes that'll happen, and that's okay. But if we want to try to break that cycle of pain, that cycle of hate, instead of perpetuating it, like I said, it helps to hold compassion in our heart for the other person, hold love in our heart for the other person. And then we can also look for ways to bring love to that interaction. So any wound that someone's acting out on us, at the root of that wound is a lack of love somewhere in their life. Somewhere in their life, they didn't get the love they needed. That's causing them to act in this way now. And so by bringing some love to the interaction, that can be a way to break that cycle of pain, break that ongoing, repetitive, recurring cycle of pain and hate. And an easy way to do that is just look for ways to give compliments to people. I mean, it can be even simple things like compliments about their appearance. So especially for holidays, people might bring out some nice clothes, some might dress up with clothes or jewelry. And most people, or lots of people, we have something, some kind of clothing or maybe some kind of jewelry that's special to us that we might bring out on a special occasion like holidays. And so it's always a good practice to pay attention to the people that we're interacting with. Notice them, take in all of them, look at all of their appearance, look at their clothes, their shirt, their pants, their socks, their shoes, and see if there's anything that jumps out at you, something that just catches your attention, and then give a compliment about that. This is one of my favorite ways to interact with most people. Just look for something, because oftentimes the thing that catches our attention, or sometimes the thing that catches our attention is something that they put a lot of attention into while selecting that to put on, and maybe something that has a lot of meaning to them. And so it's sometimes really nice to give a compliment to something someone's wearing, and it's something that has a lot of meaning for them. And their eyes will light up, and they'll feel that transmission of love. That's a great way to just bring love into an interaction through a seemingly mundane action, such as giving a compliment. And sometimes I try to do this when I'm in if I'm in a conversation that's negative, sometimes I'll just do this and try to do this. And even if it doesn't fit into the conversation, if I don't know what to say and I don't want to continue the negative stream of the conversation, sometimes I'll just totally change the subject by giving this compliment. And so it's just a nice way to try to bring more love into any interaction we're having, any challenging interaction. And again, if we fail, if we forget, we get triggered, if we lash out again, we're doing the best that we can, right? Oh, that's another thing to remember about these other people that we're having challenging interactions. If someone's lashing out at us, they're doing the best that they can, given their upbringing, the messages they receive from their family, the wounds they suffered growing up. And so that's another thing to keep in mind to help keep compassion for people, is that they're doing the best that they can. And any pain they're inflicting on us, any unpleasantness they're bringing to a conversation, that's a reflection of pain and unpleasantness that was foisted upon them at some point. And so when we can help to turn around that interaction by injecting some love with some compliments. Okay, but so say we've tried all of that, but it's just getting it's getting worse, it's getting bad, we're getting really uncomfortable. And if we're starting to feel really bad in an interaction, in any interaction, we can always remove ourselves from it. And we can just say simply that I'm not feeling well, and get up, maybe just go to the bathroom, take a little break for a little while, splash some water in our face, or if it's really bad, even leave the gathering if it's necessary. We're not lying in that case. We're saying we're not feeling well, and at the same time we're honoring ourselves, we're taking care of ourselves, we're protecting ourselves, and we're doing so in a way that doesn't directly confront the other person. So sometimes there is a time and a place to directly confront another person, but oftentimes that direct confrontational approach just continues the cycle of hate and cycle of pain and cycle of conflict. And sometimes the best option is to take a non-confrontational approach to remove ourselves from the situation. And just saying something like that that I'm not feeling well, and using that as an excuse to leave is a great way to non-confrontationally leave an environment that's making us not feel good. And maybe, I mean, we can say if people want more information, we can just be honest. Like, am I getting a headache? Am I getting a stomach ache? Am my shoulders hurting or something? I mean, however the unwell feeling is manifesting, we can express that we're feeling not good without blaming it on another person, right? Because whenever we start to blame someone else, that's when that cycle of violence or that cycle of hate, cycle of pain just continues. Even if we, with good intentions, we're trying to stand up for ourselves and we're trying to create healthy boundaries, if we do that, if we blame another person in the process, that creates more problems in the long run. So, and again, sometimes there is a time to directly confront someone, but sometimes this non-confrontational approach can be an easier and healthier and more loving way to address a difficult situation that we find ourselves in. Okay, so any questions about that or any comments?
I think all that's really good. Just another little thing that I sometimes do if there's like an interaction or that is coming at me, I always try to remember to pause before I speak. I feel like that's a big one because some people, me sometimes too, can just jump, but just remember to cognitively pause before reacting and before speaking. And then even if you just say something like, if you don't agree, just, "Oh, I was just thinking about what you were saying," or "I was just digesting that," and say it politely. And a lot of times that just kind of changes it all together.
Great, yeah, thanks for bringing it up. That's a great reminder to to just be, like you said, mindful about our reaction and take that pause, because that pause really helps, and take a deep breath to,
Yeah.
yeah, to calm ourselves down, calm down, that especially when we're feeling agitated, feeling triggered, that taking a deep breath can help calm the nervous system and help us not lash back out, not return anger with anger, return pain with pain. So yeah, thanks for that. Just a reminder.
Courtney, that's really neat, because then if we pause too, if someone's angry and we pause, even if we think we're pausing to not be angry back maybe, but also it gives space for them to reflect. I love that. I'm digesting what you just said, because then it allows them to digest it too a little bit, and they realize,
Exactly.
oh, wow, what did I just say, you know?
Yeah, it tends to work pretty well
Mhm.
overall.
Yeah, it sounds like a great way to handle for both parties. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Really amazing points, Matt, you brought up. Thank you. You hit on a lot of good things.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
It's so helpful talking about these things before too. Like I've been talking about it with my counselor too, and I just find the more, and a couple friends, and the more we talk, it's like it's almost like going into boot camp for some people. Like there's the love, there's the ebb and flow of the great love that feels so amazing and fun and joyful love connection, but then there's the other parts, and it's really interesting how we can like embed it by talking about it, you know. And
Mhm.
and maybe like somatically, I'm realizing maybe I should, after I like maybe journal about these points and then do a little yoga or something. Well, I guess we did with the body relaxation beforehand, huh? Kind of letting it sink into our body, what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's a good idea. Yeah. So to help, so that our body helps us remember it when we're in the moment. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to talk about this the week before Thanksgiving, just to help us all prepare.
It's great timing.
And I'll probably do another one before Christmas.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So let's do a heart meditation now. So again, this is another one of these practices that we can do before heading to a gathering to fill our hearts up with love. So we have plenty to share. Let's close our eyes, settle into our seats. Take another deep cleansing breath. Inhaling, feeling the chest expand. And exhale, letting go of those heavy topics we were just talking about. So now let's relax, settle into our bodies. Let's remember a time in our life when we felt a lot of love, whether that was love from a person, parent, or a child, or a lover, or love from a pet, dog, or a cat, or chicken, whatever kind of pet you have, or friends, or teachers, counselors, anyone, any time in your life where you felt loved and accepted, happy and joyful. Allow that memory to come into your consciousness. Allow that feeling of love, joy, acceptance. Allow that feeling to come into your body. Now, for this meditation, if you'd like, you can bring your hands to your heart. And we'll try a mantra meditation. It's a very common mantra. You've probably heard it before. It's Om Mane Padme Hum. So Om, that's the sacred syllable you're probably all familiar with. And Mane Padme Hum is the last three parts. It's Om Mane Padme Hum. So for this meditation, as we inhale, let's imagine we're breathing in that feeling of love that we just conjured. And as we exhale, let's chant that mantra and feel that vibration of love in our heart. Feel our chest vibrating, feel our heart vibrating with love. We can start by clearing all the air out with an exhale. Inhale, breathing in love. Om Mane Padme Hum. Inhale, breathing in love. Om Mane Padme Hum. So feel that vibration in your chest. Om Mane Padme Hum. 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 Allow that vibration to ripple out through your body. Om Mane Padme Hum. 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 Om Mane Padme Om Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme. Let's just sit for a few breaths. Maybe you continue to feel that vibration in your heart, in your chest. Continuing to breathe in love, inhale love, and then exhale, feeling that love right in your heart. When you're ready, you can deepen your inhales again. Really bring your attention back into this shared space. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and rejoin us. So how was that mantra meditation?
I like that.
Yeah. Does it feel, can you feel the vibration vibrating in your chest?
And
So
down to my toes.
awesome. Yeah, that mantra has many interpretations. My teacher used to say it. A more literal translation is the jewel is inside the lotus. And she used to say you can take that to mean enlightenment is in all things. But I like to think it means love is in all things. So that's kind of what I keep in mind as when I'm doing that as a heart mantra. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about another one of those topics for the holidays about being alone. So like I mentioned, if we're alone, whether we're single or not around, if we're not with family for the holidays can be can amplify that feeling of loneliness because everyone else is out with family and or doing things with family, with friends. And if we're alone, it can be a very challenging time. But it can also be a very powerful time to dive within, to go within us, to face those parts of ourself that maybe we're able to distract ourselves normally with other things. So the holidays are, a quieter time. Most people have off work a few days off. And so it can be a time to spend, to get quieter, to go inside more, to go deeper inside. And so if over any time over the holidays we find ourselves struggling with loneliness or struggling with any intense emotion, I've kind of talked about this before about dealing with negative emotions, but in particular on the holidays, if we're feeling lots of loneliness or pain, loss of relationships, loss of family members, maybe I feel that more acutely in the holidays. So anytime we're feeling something intensely, any negative emotion, it's a good time to sit with it, allow ourselves to be with it, allow ourselves to feel it. And it can help to examine it mindfully. So when we're feeling something intensely, emotions often have a seat somewhere in the body. So we can start by identifying where in the body is this emotion living. When I'm feeling loneliness, I feel it as kind of just this pit in the center of my stomach, just this rock, kind of this empty void, this gnawing void. And so identifying it, where in the body is this sensation, and then describe it, define it, give it adjectives. Is it a sharp pain, a dull ache, a gnawing sensation? Does it come in waves? Does it pulse? Is it constant? And so, like I was saying, though, when I feel loneliness, I feel it's just this pit in my stomach. And it feels like a black hole and like this dense rock in the middle of my stomach. And so by defining it like that, by giving it adjectives, we bring our attention to it and we allow ourselves to experience it fully. We allow ourselves to feel it. And by feeling it, we allow ourselves to process and integrate it. I read in a book one time that all emotions any emotion only lasts for about 30 seconds. I don't know if I buy that fully, but the point was that if we really just give ourselves to any emotion of any intensity, give ourselves fully to it, the longest it'll last is about 30 seconds before it moves through our body. So I don't know about that, but but the point is, the more we allow ourselves to feel, the more we dive into a sensation like that, the faster we process it. And maybe we can process it enough that we don't continually bring it back up. So oftentimes when we're haunted by emotions, it's because it keeps coming up, right? We'll experience it, but then it goes away, and our brain, our mind, our subconscious keeps bringing it up, keeps bringing it up, keeps bringing it up. And a way to break that cycle is to listen to that part of us that keeps bringing it up and just experience it fully. Just dive into it. Like, okay, brain, you want me to feel this now? Let's feel it. Let's go in 100%. And I've talked about I've gone into detail about this experiences that I had with diving into, with loneliness in particular. So there's a video on the website if you want more details about that. But it's just one practice to deal with loneliness or any negative emotion that might come up during these holidays, especially if we find ourselves spending a lot of time alone. And that's not a bad thing to spend time alone. I think I'm going to intentionally try to spend time alone this Thanksgiving. I'm not going home to see family till Christmas. And I've been spending a lot of time alone lately, and it's really allowing me to face those parts of myself that I hadn't wanted to face before, and just uncover these patterns, like discover these patterns in my mind and get to the root of them and allow them to play out and find out and allow myself to process whatever is at the root of them that causes these patterns to keep coming up, causes these thoughts keep coming up. So there can be a lot of power in spending time alone and diving inside and facing ourselves and really getting to know ourselves. So yeah, I just wanted to add that on for anyone who's not going to be dealing with family for the holidays. Any questions or comments about that?
I've been doing some work with that. It's something that you mentioned a while ago, and trying to settle in with being alone. My husband's getting ready to leave, like for many months, and probably like we're splitting. But Matt, you had shared about that months ago, about just lean into that loneliness, and I've been just journaling about it and sitting with that and trying to get comfortable with what that looks like and how that feels. And as I'm working through a lot of those things and my fears about that, I've been breaking out in a rash all around my eyes, my mouth. And I realize, oh, that's like spiritual detox, almost just facing my fears, coming out in, yeah, it's
Or emotional.
loud.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been really helpful, and journaling about it has been really helping me a lot in facing that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for the testimonial. Yeah. Any other comments or questions on that?
No, I think those are all very good points and good tips.
Cool. Thanks.
I have to go host a meeting right now. So thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Great to see you.
Pleasure. Yeah. Good
Bye.
night.
All right, so let's end with another love practice. So for this one, it's less a meditation and more almost, I guess, an affirmation practice, you could say. So I've talked before about the practice of saying out loud to ourselves, I love you. Just sitting, eyes open or eyes closed, maybe with our hands on our heart, and just saying to ourselves, just saying, I love you. You can put your name on the end of it to make it more personal. But if that feels really uncomfortable to say, I love you, if that's too much, then maybe just say, I wish I love you, or I wish I loved myself. So make it, feel free to play around with this exercise. Make it personalized. Make it work for yourself, because we're all different. We all have different things, and And some of us, some of the trauma we received came with love. And depending on our family members, oftentimes love is, or love is interspersed with pain from family members growing up. And so saying love, that saying I love you can be triggering to trauma if the people who told us they loved us also caused us a lot of pain. So it may be saying that practice of saying I love you is something we might want to work up to. And I talked about this last week. There's another a longer video about that, about working up to I love you. Maybe starting with just I appreciate myself, I accept myself, I appreciate myself, I'm grateful for myself. Or even I wish I accepted myself, I wish I were grateful for myself, I wish I loved myself. So feel free to, if it feels too uncomfortable to say I love you, feel free to adjust and find something that doesn't make you uncomfortable. So let's close our eyes, settle into our seats. Again, if it's comfortable, you can put your hands on your heart, or you can leave them wherever they're comfortable. So we'll just do this for a minute. We'll just say over and over again, I love you. I invite you to make it playful. Play around with the tone, with the pitch, with the words. Make it a fun, loving experience. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I love you. I love you. I love you, Matthew. I love you. I love you so much. I love you. Matthew, I love you. 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 I love you, Matthew. I am grateful for you. I appreciate you. I accept you exactly as you are. I love you. Now let's sit for a moment, noticing that sensation. Are you feeling love in your heart? Are you feeling pain in your heart? Feeling uncomfortable? Whatever you're feeling, it's okay. It's all right. Just feel it. Just breathe into it if you're uncomfortable. And when we're ready, allow our breath to return to normal. Allow our attention to come back to this shared space. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Join us. So James and Jamie, I don't know if you guys have done that exercise with me before. How was that for you, if you care to share? Any thoughts, any comments?
I find it difficult.
Yeah. And that's fine. That's perfectly normal. And so, like I said, I think we were talking about this on Monday as well. You can start with something easier. Start with just, I accept you, or I wish I accept you. Or you can ignore it completely. You know, it's your choice. But I found this is a very powerful practice because words have vibration, words have meaning, and our subconscious responds to words. Even if you don't believe it, even if you don't believe it, but saying those words out loud starts to reprogram the subconscious. It starts to make that a familiar concept for the subconscious. And so, and again, no pressure. You're always welcome to do whatever you want. But this is a very powerful practice to start to change how we feel about ourselves. And so that's just something to keep in mind.
Well, and Matt, on that, I think we've said this before, or I may have mentioned it when we did this before, that, you know, your subconscious doesn't understand sarcasm. So if it is hard for you, as long as you say it, it still has the same effect over time on you and your mindset and body. So
Yeah.
if that helps too.
Yeah, even if you're saying it totally sarcastically,
Mhm.
it's still the subconscious doesn't understand sarcasm, like you're saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
Where did you guys get that from? Because that seems, I would wonder about that.
So
Is
I
it-
read where I personally got a good bit of it. I am certified in Yoga Nidra, and there's a really great Yoga Nidra book that goes into the layers of subconscious and how our subconscious reacts. So that's where I got a lot of that. Matt, you've studied all kinds of things.
Yeah. What's the name of that book?
It's Yoga Nidra. It's the main one. I can send you. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, I can send you the author as well. I've got it in there.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It's great.
See it too, Matt. If you want to send me that link.
Oh,
The Yoga
sure.
Nidra.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll share that.
Because I think like the sarcasm would create a feeling tone. You know, the heart wouldn't be believing. So if the heart's not believing, if the heart's stronger than the brain. But I really support Yoga Nidra's research. I think there would probably be different amazing things to that. And I've done Yoga Nidra and seen the results myself, but I'm not that hard to do Yoga Nidra with too. You know, I mean, to get into a deep or just different kinds of states. And there's so many different Yoga Nidras too, you know. But that felt really good for me. I liked saying it in different ways too. And it was, and then, you know, it was fun. It's fun to change it around too and make yourself laugh. Even I made myself laugh.
Great.
But
Yeah. Have fun with it. Yeah, be playful with it. Yeah.
What's
Go ahead.
what's Yoga Nidra?
I'll let one of you two, or no, Courtney, you can explain it.
So essentially, it's a practice where it's Yoga Nidra basically means yogic sleep, but you don't go to sleep. Your mind starts to go into a theta, produces theta waves as opposed to alpha and beta waves or delta, but theta. So you're in a space where you can completely relax and rest. They say that an hour of Yoga Nidra is equivalent to getting 4 hours of sleep. So you're resting, and also you're taking in, and depending on what type of guided, they're all guided. You'll be in like Savasana, lying on your back in a very comfortable position, and it's guided. And depending on what type of guided meditation it might be, you could potentially not even hear your instructor anymore, but you're still being able to take in what's being said. You normally pick a sankalpa or a resolve, so what you want for yourself. And during that time, your body gets a time to rest and really try to get to your inner best being, is one of the best ways I can think to describe it. It's a really great practice for your body and mind.
Cool. I've only done it a couple times, but yeah,
It's
Yeah.
so good.
maybe I should explore it more. Yeah.
Yes, Matt, yes.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah, and so back to your question, Jamie. Yeah, so I haven't heard it exactly like that, but I heard in some talks by Matt Kahn, and I don't know if you've heard me talk about him before. He's a current teacher right now that talks a lot about love, and he's a big influence on me about this path of love. But he talks about how the subconscious is kind of like your inner child, And so, children don't understand sarcasm. But I see what you're saying about that feeling, the feeling of sarcasm that would come with it. So, I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it sarcastically, but if you, even if you, I guess it's more, even if you have no choice but to do it unbelievingly or sarcastically, it's still better than nothing.
Right.
And over time, hopefully it would become less sarcastic and become more authentic.
Yes.
Seems like you would be planting a seed, like when, as you were just saying that, I was imagining some people that I know that might start in sarcastically, let's say my brother, and I can see, and I imagined what it might feel like to do that. And I can see, even if we're being sarcastic, like we're still kind of planting a seed in our body or our mind, like
In the
oh, and
subconscious,
then
yeah.
they might, in the subconscious, literally in the subconscious, and then they might try it in their car or in the shower, like in a place where they're so private because they're not used to going there at all, just like one little passageway in it might be to people that are really not comfortable with that. I love thinking about, because we're in this world with so many different types of people, and it's so easy for some of us, and it's just so nice to think about all these different spectrums and that people we may know and love, and and then it helps us, it feels like it's going to help us communicate with them better in different levels and different ways too, to remember.
Right. Yeah, great. Yeah, so that's another practice we can do right before family gatherings to help top off the heart with love. Great. So I think that's it for tonight. So thank you all for joining. Thank you very much. It's great to see all of you. And
you know what else, guys, just real quick, it also builds up the life force, to do these love exercises, and that makes our aura bigger when we go in. So sometimes it's always great to, sometimes with family, we can go into a different place or not, or different people. And but I can see how great it would be to just build up the life force in general, even before leaving the house. I think I'm going to try it before Zoom meetings and leaving the house too.
yeah.
Again, I've done this before. I remember when I lived in Arizona doing yoga teacher training, actually, in 2003, a teacher had us do that at the end in Shavasana, say "I love you" out loud.
Oh,
And
cool.
not many people did, I remember. I couldn't hear anyway, but it really planted a seed. And
Cool.
Grateful. Thanks for bringing.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks,
Nice
Jane.
to meet you
See you
guys.
again. Yeah. All right.
Court.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Thanks, Matt.
Bye.
Bye.